Okay, folks, welcome back. This is the economic calendar for next week. We're starting the month of July. And typically, this is a week where we have very, very low volatility. The reasons why: it's the dead of the summer, dog days of summer. It's the 4th of July holiday, and a lot of liquidity is missing. Okay, it goes AWOL, if you will. And couple that also with non-farm payroll week protocols are in place. So basically, we're looking at Monday and Tuesday up to Wednesday's New York Open. That is your ideal scenario for setups. The rest of the week, highly, highly low, highly improbable for high probability setups. So be mindful of that. On Monday, we have manufacturing PMI for GBP in London Open. All day OPEC meetings again as a bank holiday in Canadian dollar trading. Dollar high impact ISM manufacturing PMI at 10 a.m. on Monday. Tuesday, we have OPEC meetings all day again, and FOMC members speaking at 6:35 a.m. just ahead of the New York Open. On Wednesday, we have 4:30 a.m. GBP medium impact service PMI and 8:15 a.m. GBP members speaking, and medium impact ADP non-farm employment change for the dollar at 8:15 a.m. for Wednesday. Trade balance high impact Canadian dollar. You should see some volatility for the Canadian dollar on that report. And at 10 a.m. we have ISM non-manufacturing PMI for the dollar. And Thursday, it's a bank holiday for the U.S., celebrating the Independence Day from the folks over across the pond. Nothing but love for you. And Friday, 8:30 a.m., high impact Canadian employment change, unemployment rate, and hourly earnings, and non-farm payroll and unemployment rate for the dollar. So that's our typical carnival ride on non-farm payroll Friday. So let's go over to the charts real quick, take a look at what's ahead, technically speaking. All right, folks, this is the dollar index is a daily chart. Last Wednesday, I gave you the remaining portion of the SIBI, sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, the last portion unfilled for the fair value gap. Basically got a consequent encroachment on Thursday. Friday, nothing really terribly to speak of for the dollar. I still suspect that the sell side liquidity pool resting over here will be tagged. It may get it this week, but if we do get any upside, I want to watch this low here. We have a SIBI in here. It may be rebalanced and then see this low. So it needs, in my opinion, it needs a roll over from here. Otherwise, if it trades back up to here, that would be the return, and then back down to run the sell side liquidity that way. But ideally, in a perfect world, it should go down here. No reason looking at lower time frames for the dollar. The euro dollar, we're still looking for this high here to be breached. We've been able to hold off any kind of real sell-offs here. We found some support at these equal highs. It came down in midpoint of our liquidity void here. Just almost consequent encroachment there. We'll be looking for that to stay open in an ideal scenario. We want to see it try to trade higher. Again, attacking this high. Moving into an hourly chart, you can see we've held very nice consolidation in here. I don't think it needs to come down to take out these equal lows or any of the sell side liquidity. If it does, watch this fair value gap in here. This one might be all that's required to dip into. And we also have the bullish order block as well. So if we do get any kind of movement lower, watch this area in here. Consequent encroachment is sufficient, but it may want to come down and tap into that bullish order block. 15-minute time frame for euro. Just a real mess. Nothing terribly important or noteworthy to suggest anything of any importance here. A nice little volume imbalance. They came down, filled in that, hit bullish order block. I like to see that. That's nice. Just basically noise. Really low volatility for Euro last week. Moving into cable. Cable, I mentioned again, not to beat a dead horse here, but this same fractal, that's what we see here. Okay, same thing in consolidation. I'd like this old low here. I'd like to see it come up here, close in this CIBI, but it doesn't need to do it. And we do have a fair value gap right in here with a bullish order block. So looking at that, on the high is 126.04 and 8 pipettes, so 126.05 in here. $126.05 for a key level to watch this week. Might need to trade down into that. I don't think we'll need to go lower. Okay, again, I mentioned we had several times we tried to go lower. We've had a really controlled decline, and again, it's a consolidation. So we have buy side liquidity resting above these equal highs here, a fair value gap in here, and a CIBI. Again, taking us right back into that old low. Let me put this up here. So we have a thunderstorm going on here locally. So hopefully we don't have any issues with connection. But the old low here, CIBI, fair value gap in here. So we have those levels to watch if we get this buy side liquidity ran out. And that would be an ideal scenario because we're looking again for that dollar index to come down, and that would open up a run up into this area here. Now it may be at the same time closing in this CIBI and the fair value gap and getting back to this old low. If it does that at the same time at the sell side liquidity is ran out, be mindful because that's all that would be in the short term that I'm looking for technically. So try not to demand too much beyond that if we get it at all. Dropping into an hourly chart, same thing here. We've had a really nice consolidation in here. Obviously the fair value gap exists there. So if we get anything of the contrarian movement, much like we had with the euro dollar, we have a fair value gap in here, so we could see it trade down into that. 126.10 is a level that is interesting. Maybe 126.20. I don't feel that we need to do that. It would be in an ideal world, it would just not go lower. It would just maybe gap up, fill the gap, and keep going higher. That's what I'd like to see. But we do have a really, really, really clean level that most people are going to be wanting to trust as support. That's the only thing that's problematic for me on the near term. But given the technical week in the calendar, it probably do everything opposite what I'm saying. Again, it's one of those weeks that I don't like to trade. Treat it like Passover week, 4th of July week, and Passover week, and after November, the second week of November. That's like low probability areas for me. I don't like to trade too much around that because it gets iffy. But we have a fair value gap here on 15-minute time frame. I'd like to see it trade above that. And then find it as a form of support. So it would be a balanced price range at that time, so we could see it trade above. If we come back down into it, I'd like to see maybe a bullish order block or maybe another fair value gap overlap into this on a 5-minute chart. That would be nice, and then I can anticipate another run, take out this high, and reach into that daily low that I mentioned on the daily chart for cable. Lastly, we have dollar CAD. We are targeting this old low. We got that on Friday handsomely. So everything this week, Power 3, beautiful distribution, open, rally, create the high of the day, sell off, open, rally, create the high of the day, sell off, open, rally, create the high of the day. Big distribution day. Thursday continued, and on Friday, gave up the ghost and finally cleared the sell side liquidity resting below this old low. Moving into an hourly chart. You can see it's been just a steady erosion on dollar CAD. no real considerable retracements at all, and a nice run into the 130.67.7 old February low. Once we hit that, we had something of a short-term correction. Equal highs in here. Very, very small little fair value gap exists. We have two things pointing that we could get a pop up. Now remember, we have that news for dollar CAD, so be mindful of this week here. Right in here. SIBI, sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. That's the form of fair value gap we have there. And a buy side liquidity pool resting right above these equal highs. So we could see it expand up in there. And again, it's not a lot of pips. We're only looking at what? 40 pips or so in terms of a range. So that's something you can study this week. See if you get anything inside of where we open on Sunday to this area here. Study that. Look for 5-minute fair value gaps, 15-minute fair value gaps. And here's that nice stab below that daily low in February that we were targeting. Small little fair value gap right in here, and one up in here as well. They could be premium arrays to target in current price action. We came down, had a really nice little fair value gap here, traded right into it, activated it. We'll see if there's any expansion going through. We have relative equal highs as well for dollar CAD, so that puts us around that fair value gap I mentioned on the hourly chart. So just study it. It's not a hard push. I really don't want you to do anything this week except for just observe. Get in the habit of being very light-handed on this week as a general principle and a rule practice. And that, my friends, is going to be it. Again, as a reminder, Wednesday you will have a price action lesson, and next Friday you'll have a price action lesson. I will not be doing analysis. They're pre-recorded videos, so they'll just be shared on the forum. The link will be activated, so that way you have content delivered to you, but it won't be in the form of analysis, because I've already mentioned that next week I think is a week that we shouldn't be participating anyway, and generally every week of the 4th of July, my family and I go away, and this will be like the practice every year. So just know that, you know, a good time to be expecting a break from doing analysis with ICT or the markets. Choose this week, because it's going to be one I do every year. Be safe if you're in the holidays. Enjoy your holiday, and I think that's going to be it. I will update you by way of the announcement thread when those videos are posted, much like I do when I do these weekly commentaries as well. Until I talk to you again the following week, Wednesday, that's when the next analysis video will be there, okay? So just 2 more videos, next Wednesday, next Friday, and then the following Wednesday will be the next live commentary for real-time perspective. Until I talk to you then, I wish you good luck and good trading.